Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to showcase a bunch of advanced tips and tricks that you definitely want to learn for Season 3. You all really seem to enjoy the last one of these that I made, and since the new season was just extended, I thought I'd move this upload forward. The one change though is I won't just be focusing on building or editing techniques. I'll be covering everything from new phasing methods, to utility-based tips, to even some insane keybind combinations you've never seen before. As far as the format goes, I'll show what the trick is, how to do it, why it works, as well as an in-game example from the pro player I learned it from. So with that being said, let's get into these advanced techniques. The first trick I want to cover is something that Raider464 calls double rotate binds. As the name implies, it means having two different keybinds for your rotate building option, that way you can instantly rotate your ramps a full 180 degrees. Now before you say anything, yes, I know you can do this with just one rotate build keybind. However, you can't do it anywhere near as fast as you can with two of them. It's quite literally instant. Anyways, when you set it up, you need to make sure you have your two separate rotate keybinds on different fingers. If they're not, and they're on the same finger, then there's no point in having two of them since one rotate build bind will do the same exact thing. I have my first rotate build bind on R, which is the default that I hit with my index finger, and my second one on C, which I hit with my thumb. Raider himself has one on N to hit with his thumb, and the other on caps lock to hit with his ring finger. All you do is hit both of them at the same time, and your ramp will instantly flip a full 180 degrees. I suggest pulling this trick out whenever you're ramping straight at someone by placing the fully flipped ramp above you, a floor beneath that for piece control, and editing both of them out for an easy shot. The key is to make sure you're flipping the ramp with both rotate binds as soon as you place down the last normal ramp. Do not, and I repeat, do not wait until it's too late or look off to the side to make sure it's flipped. You have to trust yourself to press the right keybinds while looking straight down at your already built ramp. At full speed, it should look like this, where you instantly place the 180-degree rotated ramp and follow that up by completely outplaying your opponent. From their perspective, they'll think the ramp and floor is theirs since it's oriented in their direction, but they'll quickly find out it was not. So, although double rotate binds may seem pretty gimmicky at first, Raider is proof they can actually be extremely useful. Next trick is a very underutilized technique that I'll call the wall replace cone slide. What you do is as you break your opponent's wall, build a cone in their box and replace the wall you broke as your own. That way you already have piece control inside their 1x1. I originally saw this trick in an awesome box fighting video by another YouTuber named Reisshub. Reisshub was analyzing an Asian player named qjappy when he noticed qjappy constantly pulling out this move. The main reason I wanted to highlight it though was that it's very similar to the Calc classic I showed a few months back, where with the Calc classic you place a ramp before the wall and are forced to edit through two builds. You only have to edit through one build doing it qjappy's way since you perform a cone slide. As far as which one you should use, it really comes down to preference. Reddit user ihabu23 pointed out that Mr. Savage tends to favor the Calc classic as we see him simultaneously building ramps and walls as he box fights. But if you paid close attention, you'd spot that Mr. Savage actually messed up the initial Calc classic he went for since he was editing multiple builds. So at least to me, I think the wall replace cone slide is much simpler and straightforward to use in actual matches. Trick number 3 is one of the most ingenious ways to reuse single-use launchpads. In case you don't know what a solo or single-use low pad is, it basically refers to a launch pad that's directly underneath a ramp. How it got there is from this technique where you look straight down at the floor, build a ramp over your head, and place a launch pad beneath your feet. The only drawback to launch padding this way is that it's not good for team modes. Unless your teammate breaks a ramp over your launch pad, there's no quick way to jump onto it. Or is there? About 10 days ago, Reddit user Zox hit the front page with this beautifully basic yet 200 IQ strategy. Just build a floor in front of the launch pad, edit both tiles vertically on either side, jump up onto the railing, and you'll be able to walk straight onto the solo low pad your teammate put down. Now, I have seen a strategy where your teammate puts down a cone over the launch pad and edits the two front tiles for a low pad. That way you can reset the edit and do the same thing yourself. The thing is, that takes 10 times longer to set up, and if that's not your teammate's cone, you are screwed. So if you've been like me and setting up this version of the low pad just to help out your teammates, stop and show them this trick to reuse solo ones. Fourth trick is an old emote exploit you guys may remember, the deep dab shot, that's finally come back. I believe the first time I ever showed this off was in July of last year. All you did was hit the keybind for your deep dab emote, then pop up to shoot as soon as you were below your opponent. From their perspective, they cannot see you at all. Basically, every content creator and pro player knew about this and utilized it back then until Epic went out and patched it. They added a big delay between when you can shoot after emoting, which completely ruined the trick. Luckily for you guys, there is a fix, but you do have to set up the trick the original way beforehand. That means going into your keybinds and setting up an easily accessible key for the emote slot you have deep dab in. I have mine on my first emote slot, and I'm going to put my keybind on X, so anytime I press X in game, I immediately do the deep dab. Anyways, the full workaround is after you make the window edit, take out your wall build while holding down left click or right bumper to place it, then press the keybind you set up for the deep dab while still holding left click, and lastly take out your shotgun and it should automatically fire. My advice for pulling this off in game would be to do a Mongrel Classic through the window edit, that way your opponent cannot build and you also have enough time to get in position for the deep dab. Just remember to hold down your left click or right bumper the entire time you have your build out like you're turbo building, and while you do the deep dab and pull out your shotgun. Oh, and one last thing, your opponent will have no way to see you at all while you do it, making it one of the best tricks in the game. Trick number 5 is a pretty unique box fighting move that I can almost guarantee none of you have seen or used before. You want to pull this out whenever you drop down on a ramp to replace your opponent's wall, but you don't want to get coned like this and outplayed by a good box fighter. What you want to do instead is drop down, jump up on a floor, edit the 2 right tiles of it like this, and then jump up onto the little railing. From that spot, you'll actually be able to phase through your opponent's cone, which gives you the ability to do damage to them and to replace their wall without them knowing. From your opponent's perspective, they'll be waiting trying to hold their wall, when as they edit out to cone you, they'll get caught off guard by the fact you can still shoot them and take their builds. My favorite part about this though has to be that you cannot counter it. If you try to do the Kylix Classic, which is the move where you edit out of your box, place a floor, edit the floor, and then place a ramp for a shot, the person using this new move will just end up on top of the ramp you place. Additionally, if your opponent is a madman and tries to run right at you, you'll have a really nice right hand peek on them as the trick's creator kcaf shows here. So for all of you guys looking to play out box fights safely, there's not too many better strategies than this one. Trick number 6 I believe we're on is another 200 IQ box fighting one. To do it, build a cone on top of the right side of your opponent's box and RPG the front half of it. This will explode all the builds on the middle and the right side of their 1x1, which you can then replace as your own. At full speed, it should look like this, where you quickly rebuild the walls you RPG'd and edit them open onto your opponent. Something I just thought of that you can add onto this is doing the second trick by adding in a cone slide. What I mean is, as you RPG the builds, place a cone just before you place the wall, that way your opponent will have no way to protect themselves. So yes, I know this is a very short one, but it's way too useful not to show. 7th is a building placement trick I picked up from the most infamous pro player in the world, Yung Calc. In case you didn't catch what it was, the trick is how to always get your cones to place on the other side of a wall. I don't know about you guys, but this is something I've always struggled with. I either put my crosshair too low down, or I put my crosshair too high up. The correct position is to place your crosshair just above the top of the wall. When you do it fast, it should look like this, where you look just above the top of the wall and place the cone. So even though this could be seen as a more basic trick, Yung Calc is one of the few players that has mastered it to its full extent. 8th and final trick is one of the most toxic yet legal techniques you can do in Fortnite. The way it works is as you jump onto a launch pad, you place a cone over it at the last possible second. In slow motion you can see I just barely phased through the cone, which is how I'm actually able to jump off the launch pad as it places. This will definitely take some practice, especially if you are like me and you keep placing the cone too early, but there's nothing better in the world than screwing over everyone else trying to launch pad in the late game. Overall guys, those are the most advanced tips and tricks you should should know for season 3. Let me know down below which one is your favorite, as well as any techniques I may have not included. On top of that, if you enjoyed the video, do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code JARIAN. I truly appreciate all the support recently, and I know I say it every single video, but I cannot thank you guys enough. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.